Verrückt slide incident. On August 7, 2016, visitors at the Schlitterbahn Waterpark in Kansas City witnessed one of the most horrific water park accidents in history. The Verrückt water slide stood 17 stories high, making it the tallest in the world. Its name, German for insane, would prove tragically appropriate. The massive slide featured a 50-foot drop, followed by a second hill designed to give riders a momentary feeling of weightlessness, before splashing down in a pool below. 10-year-old Caleb Schwab, son of Kansas State Representative Scott Schwab, boarded a raft with two adult women for what should have been an exhilarating ride. The three-person raft accelerated down the initial drop, reaching speeds of over 65 miles per hour. As it approached the second hill, something went catastrophically wrong. The lightweight raft, carrying the small boy in the front position, became airborne. What happened next shocked everyone present. The boy's head struck one of the metal hoops supporting the safety netting above the slide. The impact was instantaneous and catastrophic. The force completely severed his head from his body in what medical examiners later classified as a transection of the cervical spine and skull. His decapitated body continued down the slide in the raft, leaving a trail of blood. Witnesses reported hearing screams, then seeing the women in the raft emerge covered in blood. Park staff quickly evacuated the area, but it was far too late. Investigators later discovered that park officials had documented multiple incidents of rafts going airborne on the same section of the slide, yet continued operation. The ride, once marketed as an engineering marvel, had become a deadly trap that claimed the life of a child in the most gruesome way imaginable. Banzai pipeline incident. On June 2, 1997, a celebratory day at Waterworld USA in Concord, California, turned tragic in a matter of seconds. The Banzai pipeline was a 4-story water slide designed to safely carry a small number of riders at once. Built with fiberglass and steel supports, it had operated without incident since the park's opening. That afternoon, dozens of high school seniors from Napa High School arrived at the park for a year-end celebration. Around 2:30 p.m., approximately 30 seniors gathered at the top of the slide. Despite repeated warnings from lifeguards that the slide could only safely hold a few people, the students decided to attempt a class record by sliding down together simultaneously. As they crowded onto the slide, the combined weight exceeded 2,000 pounds, far beyond its design capacity. 17-year-old Quimby Galati joined her classmates on the overcrowded attraction. Moments after they began sliding, a terrifying cracking sound echoed through the park. A section of the slide's support structure gave way under the excessive weight. The fiberglass flume fractured completely, causing the entire section to collapse. Students plunged 30 feet to the concrete below. Screams filled the air as bodies fell in a chaotic tangle of limbs and broken slide fragments. Galati took the worst of the impact. First responders arrived quickly, but for Galati, it was already too late. She had suffered catastrophic head and neck injuries upon impact with the concrete. Despite frantic resuscitation attempts, she was pronounced dead at the scene. Dozens of her classmates suffered serious injuries, including broken bones, internal bleeding, and concussions. What began as a celebration became a lesson in the fatal consequences of ignoring safety warnings. Thunder River Rapids incident. On October 25, 2016, Dreamworld Theme Park in Queensland, Australia, became the site of one of the country's worst amusement park disasters. The Thunder River Rapids ride was a family attraction that simulated a whitewater rafting experience. 6-person circular rafts floated along a conveyor belt through artificial rapids. The ride was considered one of the safest in the park, with a history of over 30 years of operation. At approximately 2:20 p.m., a critical water pump failed, causing water levels to drop dramatically within seconds. The sudden lack of water left one raft stranded on the conveyor belt near the unloading area. The automated system continued to operate, sending another raft toward the same location. The second raft, carrying 6 passengers, collided with the stranded one and became caught in the conveyor mechanism. The raft was lifted and pivoted to an almost vertical position. 4 adults, Cindy Lowe, Kate Goodchild, Luke Dorset, and Ruzi Aragi, were thrown into the machinery below. The metal components of the conveyor system and the mechanical gears created a deadly trap. Their bodies were caught between the raft and the conveyor belt's moving parts, causing catastrophic crushing injuries. Witnesses described hearing screaming that suddenly stopped. Park staff rushed to shut down the ride, but the mechanism took nearly a minute to fully stop. By then, all 4 victims had suffered fatal compressive trauma and asphyxiation. Medical examiners later confirmed that death occurred within seconds due to severe thoracic compression that made breathing impossible. 2 children who remained in the raft survived only because their smaller size allowed them to avoid being pulled into the machinery. They watched helplessly as the adults died before their eyes. Volcano slide incident. On February 24, 2012, a maintenance oversight at the Daroma Aqua Park in Caldas Novas, Brazil, led to one of the most preventable water park tragedies on record. The Volcano was a towering water attraction designed to look like an erupting mountain, with multiple slides winding down from the summit. That day, sections of the slide were undergoing routine maintenance, with several pipe segments removed for repair. 8-year-old Davy Lucas de Miranda arrived at the park with his family for what should have been a day of fun. While his parents were momentarily distracted, Davy wandered away from the open attractions. Despite maintenance barriers that should have prevented access, he managed to climb the stairs leading to the partially dismantled volcano slide. No staff members were positioned to stop him. At the top, Davy entered one of the slide's tunnels and pushed off. For the first few seconds, the ride seemed normal as he slid down the enclosed tube. Then suddenly, he reached a section where the connecting pipes had been removed. There was nothing to contain his momentum. Davy plummeted 15 meters through open air, his body free-falling until it struck the concrete foundation below. Park visitors heard the impact and rushed to the scene. Davy was still breathing, but barely. His skull had fractured in multiple places, and he suffered severe internal injuries. Blood pooled around his small body as staff frantically called for emergency services. Despite being rushed to the hospital, the trauma was too severe. Davy's brain had suffered catastrophic hemorrhaging. He died 3 hours later without regaining consciousness. Park officials later admitted they had failed to secure the maintenance area properly, turning a simple repair job into a deadly trap. Wild Waves Activity Pool Incident. On August 6, 2016, a crowded Saturday at the Wild Waves theme park in Federal Way, Washington became the setting for a drowning that went unnoticed for nearly 15 minutes. The activity pool was one of the park's most popular attractions, a 500,000-gallon pool with simulated waves and depths ranging from 3 to 10 feet. On busy days, hundreds of guests would pack the water, making it difficult for lifeguards to monitor everyone. Vijayarangan Srinivasan, a 32-year-old software engineer who had recently moved from India, was enjoying the pool with friends. As the wave machine activated, the already crowded conditions became more chaotic. At approximately 5:30 p.m., Srinivasan disappeared beneath the surface in the deepest section of the pool. The churning water and limited visibility meant no one immediately noticed his absence. What happened next was a catastrophic failure of oversight. Several children in the pool spotted a body on the bottom and repeatedly alerted a nearby lifeguard. According to witness statements, the lifeguard dismissed their concerns, assuming they were playing a prank. For nearly 15 minutes, Srinivasan remained submerged in 10 feet of water as hundreds of people swam above him. Medical experts later explained that drowning victims can experience consciousness for up to 2 minutes underwater. Srinivasan would have felt the burning sensation of water entering his lungs, followed by intense panic and pain as his body fought for oxygen. By the time another guest finally spotted and identified his body as real, brain death had already occurred. Despite being pulled from the water and receiving CPR, he was pronounced dead at the hospital. His body had been within sight the entire time, hidden in plain view beneath the feet of unaware swimmers. Indiana Log Incident. On October 23, 2007, Australia's Jamberoo Action Park became the scene of a devastating mechanical failure. The Indiana Log was a popular flume-style ride that carried boat-shaped vehicles along a water channel, culminating in a steep 20-meter drop into a splash pool. The attraction relied on powerful water pumps to maintain sufficient water volume for a safe descent. That day, the ride had been operating normally for hours. At approximately 1:15 p.m., a critical mechanical failure occurred in the main water pump system. The water level at the bottom of the final drop began to decrease rapidly. Park engineers were unaware of the malfunction, as there was no automated shutdown system linked to water level sensors. A logboat carrying 4 passengers, including a 35-year-old woman, had already begun its climb to the peak of the attraction. As the boat crested the top of the final drop, the passengers had no way of knowing what awaited them below. Instead of the usual deep cushion of water to slow their descent, they were about to plummet onto an almost dry concrete trough. The boat accelerated down the slide at approximately 45 miles per hour, striking the nearly empty channel with devastating force. The impact shattered the fiberglass boat and ejected all passengers. The 35-year-old woman took the brunt of the collision, her head striking the concrete surface directly. The force caused immediate and catastrophic cranial trauma. Other passengers suffered serious injuries but remained conscious. They reported hearing a single crack, the sound of her skull fracturing, followed by silence. Park staff rushed to the scene and attempted CPR, but the woman's injuries were unsurvivable. She had suffered complete cerebral herniation from the impact. The brain trauma was so severe that she died within minutes, as the ride that was designed for fun became a deadly freefall. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now and make sure to subscribe.